Mic check. All right. I want to start as on time as possible because our time is valuable to everyone here. And we're not going to wait for folks. They might be stuck on the train. They might be having traffic. It's perfectly fine. We want to make sure we can show up. I think we're going to do some roll call stuff first, and then we're going to get right to business. And I just want to say happy holidays. I hope everybody had a good time. We're back at it. And I think that's important too. But it's nice to see all your faces as usual. So we're going to go.
Good afternoon, everyone, and I want to join the BP in welcoming everyone into 2026. And one of the first things you do is come to the Borough Board meeting.
There you go. There you go.
Okay, I'll start with the roll call. Okay, I'll give the council members a break and start with the community boards. If you're not the regular representative, please give your name. Community Board 1. Thank you. Community Board 2. Community Board 3. Community Board 4. Thank you. Community Board 5. Community Board 6. Community Board 7. Thank you. Community Board 8. Community Board 9. Thank you. Community Board 10. Community Board 11. Community Board 12. Community Board 13. Thank you. Community Board 14. Thank you. Community Board 15. Thank you. Community Board 16. Thank you. Community Board 17. Thank you. Community Board 18. Okay. Council members. 33, Wrestler, Office of Council Member Wrestler, Isabel. Thank you. District 34, Member Gutierrez. 35, Member Hudson. 36, Member Ose. 37, Member Nurse. 38, Member Aviles. 39, Member Hanif. 40, Member Joseph. 41, Member Mealy. Thank you. 42, Member Banks. Thank you. 43, Member Zwang. Thank you. 44, Member Felder. 45, Member Louis. 46, Member Narcisse. Thank you. 47, Member Santuoso. Thank you, Michael. Member 50, Carl. Hey, Justin. Oh, and I left out 48, Member Vernikov.
Okay.
And the Borough President is here in person.
All right. Here.
We're here.
Present. We're going to do the.
The agenda was sent to everyone prior to the meeting. You've seen it. Can we have an approval of the agenda? Thank you. Any objections? Thank you. The agenda is as presented.
We do. Quorum has been established. Yes.
Member Busseret? Okay, thank you. Approval of the minutes. Did everyone have a chance to read the minutes? Are there any amendments to the minutes? Hearing. Thank you, Chair Pena.
We're going to get these on.
A second. Thank you. The minutes has been accepted into the record. Thank you so very much.
Okay. Now we're to
Okay, do we have any member updates from the board?
Board member updates?
Yes, Kai? Oh, 1 second.
Thank you. Good night, everybody, and Happy New Year. I just wanted to let everybody know that the discretionary process for the city council, it started yesterday. It's going to go until February 18th at 6 p.m. So we're encouraging all organizations that service the 42nd Council District to reach out, apply. Same with capital funding. We got the City Council capital funding February 19th. Also, applications must be submitted by 5 p.m. And then projects requesting capital funding with the 19th is in conjunction with the BP's office. And then everything else is going to be March 19th at 5 p.m. So, yeah, thank you.
319.
Go ahead, Eric. Give him that microphone. Right here. Should give him at least 2 mics. There should be a mic on each side.
We need more mics.
I don't know if this is an update, just as an announcement. Community Board 3, Happy New Year, everyone, first of all. Community Board 3 had its January meeting last night. We were forced, though, to have it virtually because our meeting location did not have heat. So for the first time in 3.5 years, we had a virtual meeting last night.
Wow. That was last night, Anthony?
No, we couldn't get a record last night. Thank you for that. Any other updates or announcements? Remember, turn your cards up so we. Are we waiting on any more announcements?
For you, it should be right here.
Okay, we'll move on to the Borough Hall announcements. So I have a few for you, and you'll receive flyers on these. The Borough President.
So, all right, I'll talk about divine dwellings. So this is something we talked about during our State of the Borough speech, in which we're working with houses of worship to build affordable housing. If you're familiar, in the past or very recently, many houses of worship have gotten into deals with unscrupulous landlords who are ripping them off for like their parking lots or building on their site and supposed to give them a church on the first floor. And some of these developers are leaving with millions of dollars and leaving the church with very little, or the place of worship with very little. So in an attempt to cut the scamming, the mayor's office actually started a process by which where they were assisting houses of worship with the process of building housing. But there's a lot of initial work that needs to be done for them to qualify to build housing in the city of New York. We started a program called Divine Dwellings, in which we find a cohort of about 10 houses of worship that are interested in going through this process. And we hold their hand all the way through the contracting of a developer or working alongside a development partner. Some of these churches we start with 10. I think we got to 2 last time, because through the process, they find out that they got more work to do. They know they need to raise more money. Their church doesn't work, or their house of worship doesn't work for one reason or another. They need a rezoning. Very complicated, but they all leave with some level of capacity or growth, understanding where they are in the timeline, and they can always come back to us. It's a funded program that we do. We have another 10 that are about to start for this cohort, and we're excited about it. If you know of any place of worship in your district that has a large parking lot, or whose leaders have thought about building housing, you should talk to us. We'll make sure it works. In these cases, in the Divine Dwellings cases, the 2 people we're talking about, or the 2 houses of worship we're talking about, are 100% owners of the entire site. The construction company does the work. There's some developer costs, but overall, the site and every apartment is owned by the church. So we're making sure that we can maintain that ownership within the spaces. And I keep saying church because so far the two that have made it are churches. So just want to let you know that we're continuing that program for the second cohort, the second year. Okay.
Okay, so everyone knows by now that community board applications are live and will close February 6th, and we don't plan on extending it.
Yes.
Upcoming on Thursday, this Thursday, January 8th, the borough president and the office of council member Joseph are going to be celebrating Haitian Independence Day right here at Borough Hall at 5:30 p.m. We hope that you will be here. And the borough president has some other big news. Do you want to do this? This was one of your pet projects.
Which one? Yes, and just for the celebration that we're doing with the Haitian Independence Day celebration. So as you know, that our office is really focused on celebrating through service. We're not trying to just throw parties, but we are going to be doing a lot more celebrations in the next 4 years. The first 4 years, we really felt that through the crisis of the migrant crisis, we had a crisis of COVID. There was just too much happening in our country for us to continue to just drink wine, eat, and dance while people are suffering, people are hungry, people are homeless. So we just didn't feel it right to be celebrating during those times. The migrant crisis is under control. We don't have COVID. The city just stated today that it had the safest year related to shootings and murders in the history of New York City, the history. So we are the safest this city has ever been, data-wise. We are the safest. That is an objective truth. So now we feel like we can get back into having moments of fun and not feel terrible. There are things happening in this country outside of city and state control. At the federal level, that's a little different. But at the city and state level, we should be celebrating the progress that New York City is making. So just wanted to make sure you knew that the Haitian celebration is one of the first ones we're going to be doing. You should join us, be here. It's going to be a lot of fun. Brooklyn College Prenatal Mental Health Online Graduate Course. So we are crazy about maternal health. We think it's deeply important that we get deaths by women having babies to zero. We don't want anybody dying during pregnancy. We also know that a lot of the deaths that happen because of postpartum, because of depression and anxiety. Suicide is one of the highest rates of suicide, or suicide is one of the reasons we have the most deaths related to maternal health in this city. So we just started a program with Brooklyn College, sponsored by us, in which we're actually giving, from what I understand, my GC is not here, but we're giving scholarships to Brooklyn students in Brooklyn College to do the first of its kind mental health, maternal health certification. Right now, if you are depressed postpartum, you just go to a regular therapist and they help you. We're going to have specialists that are specifically taught to assist in mental health services for women that are suffering through postpartum depression and anxiety. So there's going to be a specialty. It's the first in its country. Nobody else does this. The only way you can get a certification for mental health related to maternal health is going to be through Brooklyn College. And that's happening here in the work that we're doing. So we're really excited about that program. And it's not just for mental health therapists. It's anyone that is a part of the birthing process from beginning to end can be a part of it. So doulas can do it and so forth. So we just thought that to continue to expand the work we're doing on maternal health here in Brooklyn and making it the safest place for all women to have babies in the next 4 years. Thank you. Right. We need more.
We got some more. I'm sorry, on January 10th, we're going to have a community board application workshop and tabling session at the library at Central Library. We're going around to libraries and organizations. So if you know anyone who wants to know more about community boards, we've sent it out to the district offices. Please send them along to the library this coming Saturday. We'll be there from 1 to 2 for the workshop. On the 12th, we're taking testimony here for Brooklyn Swab for the 2026 Solid Waste Management Plan. So if you create trash or you're a zero trash household, still you can have your voice heard at this hearing Monday, January 12th from 5 to 6:30 p.m. And it's also available on Zoom. You can also participate via Zoom.
And just very quickly, the swab is I was the chair of sanitation. The swab is something that should be better attended. It's deeply important. North Brooklyn handled 40% of the city's trash in one district. One community district handled 40% of the city's trash, had the highest asthma rates and the most truck traffic. And the particle level was like 18,000. There was a ridiculous number, the particle rate in North Brooklyn. So asthma rates were higher. Our kids were suffering. The solid waste management plan gets done every 10 years in the city of New York and shows us how we handle our trash, where it goes, where the trucks are, and so forth. The swab is the board or the community version of preparing for that 10-year plan to make sure that there's justice in the work that they're doing. In the past, it wasn't like that, but now we have the swabs. So if you're interested in how trash is moved, if you're angry about how trash is moved, we don't care. Be there. It's more fun than it sounds, but containerization of trash was done through the swabs recommendations. If you're not happy with containerization, you could go there and say, hey, what are we thinking? We need diverse voices. If you love the containerization, go there and say thank you or be a part of that process. But the future of how we handle our trash is usually found or originating or born from the Solid Waste Management Board. So we'd love to have you guys there.
Okay, and then some big news for us here in this room. Community boards will be featured in the Center for Brooklyn History's People Making Power program series.
Yeah.
And that's really, really big for us. It's a big stage for folks to learn more about community boards and why they can be effective. Participating in this panel are Community Board 10, District Manager Josephine Beckman, Community Board 9, First Vice Chair Ethan Norville, Community Board 18's Chairperson Naomi Hopkins, and our longtime council member, former Comptroller Brad Lander. So hope to see you there January 21st, 6 p.m. Center for Brooklyn History. Come out and support community boards. Let's help fill that room. And one last announcement. Starting this year, we're going to be doing ULURPs on the second Wednesday of each month. So it's not going to be happening randomly unless the schedule forces it to be that way, but you can put it on your calendar, ULURP at Brooklyn Borough Hall every second Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we have two additional member announcements that have come. So we'll open the floor to that, starting with a representative from Councilmember Vernikoff.
Thank you. Our office will be hosting the New York City Department of Finance on January 20th at 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. to help our constituents with any property tax exemptions, inquiries, or concerns that they may have. So if anyone within our district would like any assistance, they can call our office to make an appointment. Thank you.
Thank you. And so I have a question, and so I guess I'll ask it now, and apologies if it should be better in unfinished business. And so basically, the question I have is for Brooklyn Borough Hall. Could Brooklyn Borough Hall confirm that Brooklyn Borough Hall will apply the temporary exemption in regarding the term limits to the 2020 appointees? Just because if I remember correctly, I believe there's something in there where there's some sort of exemption for the 2020 appointees, where basically they would be term limited in 2030, not 2028. Whereas I think the statute specifically states that as of for people in 2019, that's when the term limits apply. And so I'm just asking for confirmation about Brooklyn Borough Hall will apply that temporary exemption for that class of those appointees. I believe it was the 2021s.
Yeah. So
That's the
go ahead.
That's the city charter. So yeah, we're following the charter.
Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic.
I was going to say, whatever we can do to extend time, we will do. this is going to be, I think I talk about it all the time. This is going to be a very difficult time for us. And if we can extend time, it gives us more time to continue to get it right. So we're in no hurry to get rid of anyone or to have anyone move on. We do want people to start thinking about what they're going to be doing to move on. We think that chairs should be playing a pivotal role in the transitions and in the conversations about term limits. If the chairs are not involved, then I think it's gonna be a disaster. So would really appreciate it. Remember, we are getting the most applications into Borough Hall than we've ever gotten for appointments, but the diversity of those applications are extremely limited. And I'm not talking about just racial diversity. The typecast of a community board member is very much the same. And if you have 10 vacancies or 12 vacancies because of term limits, and we only get 14 applications, we got to pick 12 people from those 14 applications. And regardless of their qualifications or what their interests are, we have to put them in there. So you can have a group of people in the community board that are either not qualified, don't want to be there, don't care to be there, or want to cause trouble, or not aligned with the community's goals. That is a reality that can happen unless we start having a conversation about who you think your replacements should be, or who you think your successors should be. And I'll say it like that, not replacements, successors. Think about that and encourage people to apply. But we got you. We're not shortening anything. If we can extend it, we will.
Okay.
I think we got. All right.
Any other unfinished business? Member Pena and Member Camacho.
Camacho first.
Yes, we have. I'm just curious because Bushwick is one of those locations that our churches are. We have more cannabis shop than what we do churches, and we have two churches now. One I know you know very well, Cathedral of Joy, that has all that lot.
Yes.
On George Street.
Yes.
They sent us a letter indicating that they are trying to get, they have hardship now in that big giant place, and we've been trying to work with them to see what we can do. And we also have one on Madison and Bushwick, a big giant a church that's been closed because it was leaked.
Yeah.
And the owner was trying to keep it, the church pastor was trying to keep it together by doing flea markets, and a church not supposed to have a flea market or solicit it. So I'm not too sure how we can do to make sure that Bushwick Avenue becomes the place that I once saw before, where homes and doctors and people couldn't afford to live there. One, two, I understand that as a longtime board member, I understand that we do have to pass the torch to someone, but the narrative in regards to the people that are coming and applying for these positions are in their best interest and not in the best interest of the community. As you see, I wrote you a letter, and it's kind of disheartening to ask someone that's lived in my community for 65 years and my grandmother 103 to tell him how I want my community to be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In regards to their different narrative and how they feel they want, and how we are being pushed out to the side and not being included in it because they're here and they can afford to be here.
Yeah.
I'm telling you how I feel in my heart, now how my board feels, how I see and what's going on. So we really need to focus, all the community boards need to focus on what is it that we want our community to be, how is it that we can include them in here and make sure that the narrative is based on what we want and not what they want, and their philosophy in regards to what they see our community.
Yeah.
And you know, I know that I know that there are narratives in regards to people with bikes and people with cars and kids with baseball and dog parks. So everybody laughing, but it's real serious when there's not a balance, and our elected officials too also have to be more kindness in regards to what is it they want and how is it they want to fulfill their constituents, because we are constituents too.
Mhm. Yeah.
So you can't forget about us. I will be fighting. I will be 2027 out. I will be fighting to make sure that our people are still at the table, to make sure that Latinos and Blacks, I know Manhattan had started that charter revision in regards to 200 people on the waiting list. We had 14. And we only had X amount of spots. So we're doing our job and we're doing our work. But I'm sick and tired of hearing people talking about Latinos and Blacks and not filling in the narrative and putting us in the front line
Mhm.
and using us as an excuse to get what they want.
Mhm.
And that's what I come to tell you. And yes, I am term limited in 27. I have a lot of old time board members, 25 and 30, saying I'd rather leave now before I get kicked out. And seniors that have been doing this job and seeing them, that was what they used to do, to get up in the morning, you know, and have somewhere to go instead of getting locked in your home and get. We really need to focus on that, and we need to fight this charter revision together, all of us, all 18 community boards, regardless, because no one that's volunteered should be turned out. I never heard of that. And now we're fighting for people to come in. Does that make any sense?
Mhm.
Thank you for giving me the time and the
Absolutely.
floor. But you know, it's disheartening when I grew up with bricks and burn and fires. Now all of a sudden it's good and we're no longer any good.
Yeah. So Camacho, I want to make two recommendations. Like, walk the blocks, find the people. The applications are physical and online. You let us know how we can be helpful. We are doing a big push, by the way, in your district, in schools. El Puente is helping us with young people from the neighborhood. So we're doing our work. We walk through Hope Gardens. We walk through all that. We do the work. It's just the applications don't come back. So we're gonna keep trying. We don't want to quit. We want you to feel comfortable. Also, anybody that's not from 2020, Camacho, they take 2 years off, then they could come back and do the 10 years. So in this, if you're not from 2020, you were appointed in 1998. No, I'm sorry, 2019, 2018. Sorry. It's crazy that the 1900s is like a different time and era.
Don't say
Um,
1900s, please.
My son said it again the other day. He was like, "You were born in the 1900s," and I was like, just "Relax." But Camacho, seriously, 2 years. So anybody that's been there before 20, again, whatever it is, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Tell them they could apply 2 years later. And we're looking, and we know the contents of the work that they've done. They have history on those boards. We're going to take that highly. So I just want you to know that, yes, we have to do this by law, but it doesn't mean that we want the history to disappear. So just be mindful of that. And we're going to have an even more robust outreach for applications than ever. We have our community affairs team is like newly revamped. We have like 3 new people in there. It's one of the largest groups that we have alongside constituent services. So we're going to be doing a lot of hands-on decking, specifically in areas with low application counts. Because there's some areas where we have too many applications. There's some areas that we don't have any. So we're going to be focused on the areas that we see low application counts, and we're going to have a full team out there doing a full strategy in these neighborhoods. And we should be able to report that. I want to report that to you guys. What I want to do is, how long is the application process open for?
It's 6 weeks. We have 1 more month left.
So there's 1 more month left. I want to see if next week, I'm going to see how much we have so that you guys can already see 4 weeks away how we're doing. And like in this area, we got 3 applications and that's it. In this area, we got 30 applications. So you can see what we're dealing with and how we're working on it. Okay, because we don't wait till the end to see it. We see the holes halfway through and we try to close the gaps. All right, thank you. Communication.
Anything else?
Thank you. Just wanted to announce last month, hi, Julio CB7 Chair, at December's board meeting, our longtime district manager announced that he is retiring. And after
Okay.
a brief mourning and crying period and crying in a corner myself, we will begin a search for a new district manager. So just wanted to share and also acknowledge Jeremy Lawfer's 25-year support to our board.
Yeah. Get ready for more crying, trying to find a district manager. Good day. Good luck there. So many, I don't know how many people here have gone through finding district managers, but that process is something. It really is. It is. It is. It is a little warm in here, right?
Very.
Just a tad. Can we open a window? Just a one. We can't. Technically, we can't.
National Grid is doing some
Oh man,
gas outside.
they're doing gas work outside. So we either get gas or we sweat a little bit. All right. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
So now we're here. The comprehensive plan. How many of you guys know about the comprehensive plan? It's like, okay. You guys know it exists, but do you know anybody? I guess, does everybody know about the contents and why we do it? For the most part, it's all right. I'm going to do the best I can to do a quick run of the new comprehensive plan that we have. And I want to recognize or acknowledge that our land use team was recognized by New York City like Planning Association, as it got awarded. What type of award was it? City and Regional Planning Leadership Award for the work that we did for our comprehensive plan. So we're starting to be recognized citywide, nationally, and internationally. We've been invited to go to Mexico to talk about our comprehensive plan in Brooklyn alongside other cities like Mexico City and Colombia. We went to England to talk about our comprehensive plan and the work that they're doing related to transportation as well. So the work that we're doing on comprehensive planning is catching the eye and the ears and the minds of many people, and I'm really excited about that. And I just want to do a quick rundown with you guys about our new 2.0 version of the comprehensive plan. So very quickly, when I went to college, I had a mentor named Carl Thomas, and he told me, Antonio, you're too poor not to plan, is what he said. You need to have a 5, 10, and 20-year plan, and you need to start working every single day to achieve the goals that you set forth for yourself. In the city of New York, we do not do that. The mayors in the past have woken up every single day and they do this. All right, that's where I'm going to go today. Or this is where I'm going to go today. There's no plan in the city of New York on how we're going to move ourselves forward for the next 20 years. One example of that, Bay Ridge. Who's anyone from Bay Ridge here? A little bit? All right. Michael, Councilmember Justin Brannon built how many schools in the last 3 years? Yeah, more or less. Cited and built. Yeah. 8, which I want to say is a marvelous accomplishment that any council member can help build 10 schools in a district. But why would we ever need a council member to build 10 schools in a district? It's because this city allowed for overcrowding to happen in this district for a long time, didn't respond to it, had no plan for it, and then it got so bad, out of control, that they had to put schools everywhere, even in places that didn't make sense, just to meet the demand. And it's because we don't have plans in this city. We just wake up every day, and if a school doesn't cry loud enough to tell us that it's overcrowded, we just don't build another school. And then we're stuck in a position where that's happening. We have to have less than 25 students per classroom. Class sizes are changing in New York City under state law. We have right now, on average, let's say 28 students per class. That means that we need to find more space for these young kids and where they're going to be learning. We have no plan for that either. Right now, the city of New York is ramping up the development and the creation of a bunch of new schools to be able to meet the demand that the class size law is asking for. If we would have been planning, we could have solved for that. Right now, early childhood education or early childhood, the child care for all. They want to do babysitting from 6 months on, right? They want to allow for parents to be able to go to work and get assistance. And this mayor was shutting down 6 daycare centers in Brooklyn. When we know that in a couple of years, when the governor, even Trump talked about childcare. Trump, the governor, and the mayor, and the elected officials are all, and the council members are all talking about free childcare for all. but we're shutting down childcare centers. When we pass that law, what's going to happen? We're going to have to go look for 1,000 new locations because there's no thought and planning behind it. So we wanted to build a comprehensive plan that shows us what we need in Brooklyn and how we should be working towards it. Some of the stuff we can do, some of the stuff we can't. But it's a warning for the city of New York on infrastructure, our sewer systems, our parks, our libraries, our schools, just having it all in one document as a warning to council members, to state and assembly members and senators and Congress people, everyone, that we know exactly where the problems lie and we should be doing something about it. 2.0, though, does something a little different. It has an opportunity index. We are going to show, or we've shown through our planning, that people's success is directly tied to how a city plans. Your neighborhood's infrastructure and the way your neighborhood is set up is directly tied to the opportunity the people in your neighborhood have. And there are 5 things that speak, right? 5 things, right? 5 things that speak to access to opportunity. If you have less of it, you have less opportunity. That means the children there have less economic mobility and growth. Cycles of poverty continue. And it is all done through planning. It is not a mistake. It is done on purpose. And this city could actually do something about it. What you're seeing right now are the 5 pillars of what we consider access to opportunity. And we have access to jobs, climate risk exposure, access to transit, education, and healthy eating and healthy living. And the green map is where the opportunities are highest. Are areas in our borough that have all 5 of these elements that we consider opportunity areas. If you don't have it, you have less opportunities than people in that district. And it has nothing to do with race right now. It has nothing to do with income. It just has to do with these 5 things we're talking about. You either have them or you don't. And when we increase access to opportunity, we give people shots. We give opportunities to people to break cycles of poverty and to expand themselves and to thrive. It's not a mistake that what are we looking at here? Look at the opportunity areas are Park Slope, Brooklyn Heights, Carroll Gardens, those areas have everything we're talking about. Great transportation, great schools, great healthcare, great parks. And we want to give that to every single district. And if every single district has those, their opportunities increase. It's also not a mistake that people live there because these things exist. Why do you think they don't want anyone else living in those places? It's because they got it. And they limit growth in housing because they want to limit access to opportunity for people. Some of them do it intentionally, some of them do it unintentionally. Some of these districts right here are landmarked, which means that if you want, they can't build new housing in these areas because they're landmarked. And the landmarking makes it so that the opportunities that we can give new people don't exist. It's very difficult. So if we want to build housing, this is where we want to build it. A poor immigrant family from the Dominican Republic lives in Brooklyn Heights. The opportunities for those young kids is extreme. They have access to transit, education, parks, all of it right there because they live there. But instead, what we want to do is move these 5 pillars of access to opportunity to the rest of the borough. The outer boroughs are places that don't have a lot of access to opportunity. Specifically, one of the more important ones is transit and transportation. If you can't get out of your district, if you can't move independent of vehicles, you get stuck in there. I want to be clear, this is not about adding bike lanes or doing any of that. It's just access to opportunity. Being able to go to work and not spend 2 hours in traffic is important. And how to move people is important. Access to jobs is important. So one example of how we solve for this, I think it's the next one, is the IBX is an example of something that we believe is important to solving for a lot of the problems that we're setting forth. In these 2 maps, the first map is capital projects greater than 1 million that are being spent by the city of New York. So just look at that. So that's where the resources are going. So high concentration is red, low concentration is blue. The blue areas in Brooklyn get less money for capital projects than the red areas. So what is that doing? That's reinforcing the inequities that already exist in our neighborhoods. And in this area, black, white, immigrant, this is not discriminating in any way, shape, or form by race. And also not discriminating by income. It's just a geographical lack of access to opportunity. And the city, what they should be doing is putting the red where the blue is and the blue where the red is. If we don't have access to opportunity and the infrastructure is suspect, we don't have parks, we don't have good schools, we don't have good roads, we don't got access to transportation, access to healthcare, maybe we should be building that in these neighborhoods. Then we look at the IBX, which is important to us because we would never be able to get one of the four in the outer portions of the outer borough because of access to transportation. The IBX cuts right through the heart of the borough that doesn't have transportation access. So we want to improve access to opportunity, and we have to take advantage of the projects, especially large capital projects that can help expand that. And the IBX is one of those that can do that. It can do two big things: access to transportation and the development of housing near transit opportunity districts. The city of New York wants to build near train stations. If you don't have a train station, they won't build on it. This is going to be 14 new train stops running through Brooklyn and Queens. And we could have a conversation about unlocking housing opportunities in these areas that we wouldn't be able to have now. Sorry. The next one is the housing growth and housing choice framework. Is what we want to do is we want to give people choices on where they can live. Right now, we don't have choices. People move to the most affordable places in the city of New York, and they don't have a choice. There's people that have choices, have a lot of money, but the rest of New York, 90% of us, don't choose where we live when we want to move. We're forced to move to places that speak to our income. What we want to do is start building in areas that are high access and high opportunity areas. So in this one, you see that these are called transit, the pattern areas. There you go, pattern areas. Everywhere you see is a train stop. And what we're seeing is housing development in and around the areas that are dark yellow, orange, and seeing less of it in the places that are light orange. Let's go to the next one very quickly. So we have something called neighborhood density targets, and this is the one we want to give to you guys so you can have it. We think that everyone in the entire city of New York should be contributing to housing growth everywhere. No one should be exempt from building housing in our city. Right now, the people that build housing are traditionally locations that are poor, black, and brown neighborhoods, almost exclusively. That's how the city builds in this city. That's how the advantage developers take and how zoning happens. Under Bloomberg, he did down zonings, he did up zonings in black and brown poor neighborhoods, and did down zonings. He made them smaller in affluent white neighborhoods. He just outright did that. De Blasio had 10 opportunity areas that he chose. 9 of them were largely black and brown poor neighborhoods, and only one was Gowanus, was a non-black and brown, technically a non-black and brown area. So out of the 20 opportunity areas chosen by our 2 mayors before Eric Adams, 19 of them were poor black and brown areas. So the burden of building all of the housing that is sustaining the city of New York, and we're still struggling with, because over 70,000 people are living in homeless shelters, has come exclusively on the backs of black and brown neighborhoods in the city of New York. And that is objectively the truth. So what you're seeing here is where we have housing and where we don't have housing. And the red one is that's the index. So there's an index that is known worldwide as to, like, you should have 1 apartment for every 20 acres. And I'm making that up. They have the exact number on this document. You should look at it. The areas in red are the places with the least density per acreage in this city. The ones in blue have more density than the average, than what is recommended in planning in the city of New York. What we want to do is make sure that we thank the places that are doing blue, because they're doing their part in building housing, both affordable and market rate, and have a conversation with the areas of red about their contributions to the greater good in building housing in the city of New York. We now, in the city, through the Charter Revision Commission by the mayor, have the authority in the borough president's office to overturn no's or land use no's by council members. So if your council member says no to a project, the borough president's office, the speaker's office, and the mayor's office could come together and overturn a decision by a council member, right? They want to do that because they believe that some council members live in localities in which a smaller group of people can scare them into doing not necessarily what is right, but doing what is politically valuable in that moment for them. They're scared. They don't want to get voted out, and they don't want to get these people upset. And we'll give one example: is Shahana Hanif was pushing a development called Arrow Linen in her district. It was a district that had every access to opportunity index in it. Any poor person that moves into those apartments their lives are gonna change forever just because of the surroundings they live in. They had 500 people screaming at her every single day about not doing this, that it was the wrong thing, that they're gonna vote her out. She got a challenge because of it in the city council, and they ran against her. She ended up winning against all that pressure. But there are other council members that would not have that fight, would rather just say no and keep those 500 people quiet, whether or not we have a housing crisis. So the city of New York thought that a borough president has more political capital and can make decisions based on a borough-wide perspective versus a council member that makes it on a very local perspective. There are some council members in the city council that only vote no. You don't even need it. They don't care what type of housing it is. It could be from a 3-family home to a 4-family home, and they will vote no. Those folks are usually in those red areas. So in our office, we're going to start the process. The people in blue, those council members, we're not even going to have a conversation with them. We don't need to. They know what they're doing. They're building housing. They're making sacrifices, and they're doing not what's politically expedient, but doing what they think is for the greater good of the city of New York. The orange, those people are about on track. They're getting there, or they're already there. Those folks in orange also going to say, on extenuating circumstances, we might give you a call, but for the most part, we're going to trust that you're going to do right by the city. And those areas, we might give them a pass depending on the individual housing type of development that's going to happen. But the people in red, we just can't accept no's from anymore. Those are the council members that say no without even looking at projects. And that's not going to happen anymore. So our pressure, because that's all we want to do. We don't want to ever have to vote in this group, in this 3-person thing. I don't want to vote there. I want the council member to handle it. But if there's a council member in the red, now they know that we can overturn their look, and hopefully they don't do that and they proceed with doing what's best for the community. But we use our access to opportunity. So we're not doing this freestyling it. We're not doing this through politics. We didn't make these numbers up. This is all data that is set forth by the city of New York. None of this is made up. It's all factual data. I actually thought, Michael, I'm going to use you as an example. I thought you were going to be red. I talked to Justin Brannon. Now I'm talking to Council Member Kayla, their last name, Santoso. And I was like, I'm coming for you. And then we did this work, and they were in orange. So they didn't do as bad as I thought they were doing. So that's what I'm trying to say is like, we need to have these conversations. And for the community boards, what I'm imploring upon you is not that we want to tell you where we want to build. You should tell us where you want to build. You know your district way better than we do. You know, hey, I'm going to make it 4th Avenue and 50th, on that block, we should build housing. It's just a bunch of commercial spaces. We could build 3 stories on top of those commercial spaces and not bother anybody. But hey, on 2nd Avenue and 30th Street, those places we don't want to touch. You can do that and have those conversations. The problem is that the communities never initiate those conversations. They get angry when we say we want to build something somewhere, but they never present to us where they think we should be building. So I would task your housing committee and task you and say, hey, if the housing is coming, we would appreciate if we let you know where it should be. You guys do that with city bikes. Very quick to be like, we know where the city bikes go. Don't do it for us. Don't build here. Don't put them here. You should put them over there. Why not do that with housing? You know exactly where they should go. Community Board 4 has an entire neighborhood plan. that told the city where their housing should be and where it shouldn't be. We should all look at that because it'll help. So we want you guys to take the comprehensive plan, look at it. It has so much information outside of what I just showed you. It tells you your asthma rates. It tells you your income. It tells you how many people are immigrants. It tells you who lives in rent stabilized housing and who doesn't. It tells you who's a homeowner. It tells you who's cycling. It tells you vacancies, like where is there vacancies high in your district? Priority corridors that we think make sense. What else do we have? Life expectancy. There's one that shows, all right, these are 3 examples. Keep going to the life, to the health element so they can see that one. Because I'm going to stop talking in like 3 minutes. And I want to open it up, but I want to show you guys the health objective strategies. Or the housing one could have been. That's an example of one. That's life expectancy. Women in the red are higher rates of death during childbirth than the women in blue areas. All right. So what we did is we invested in those public hospitals in those areas so that we can start addressing that issue. People that lack health insurance. The next slide is the health insurance slide. This is where health insurance, people don't have health insurance or less in these areas, the red areas. We need to increase health insurance. This is a reported mental health. Is these 911 calls? Also, this is a self-reported mental health issues are in these areas in the red. Next one. Do the next one. This one. This is outdoor temperature deviation from the mean. In the same day, there are some places that are hotter than others, just straight up. I think there's a 10-degree difference in some areas. I think we had one where in Park Slope is 80 degrees, it's 90 degrees in Brownsville. Like that's like real. And heat leads to strokes. Hypertension is bad with, so it adds to the health complications that we have. So when I look at this, I think about trees and canopies and how we can solve for that. All right. We're almost done. We're almost here. I'm just trying to look for something that is like good to see. Yeah, that one's good. The multilingual on it. Graduation rates. Yeah, all these. All right. This is the graduation rates in the city of New York. They all looks yellow on that one. In the paper is much more obvious, but the graduation rates are much higher in the darker areas. This is no, you're good. Go to the next one. Oh, this is the multi-language rates by school. So it's people that speak more than one language at home. And this is the schools. So when we do this, this is where like dual language programs make sense. This is where you put an early childhood learning center. So the transition from speaking their foreign language to English, this is where you would do it. You wouldn't put it in an area that doesn't have multilingual folks. Schools would accept, oh, this one is, it's okay, it's all right. We're almost done. Vision zero priority areas. Access to parks is a good one. And I think this is going to be the last one. It's access to parks. These are people that live within a quarter mile of a block, right? Is it quarter mile? What is that?
So
more than that. This is just more than that. Go
yeah,
ahead.
so typically the city measures park access by your just like how far is it to walk to a park. They're not making a distinction or a designation between what type of a park. Do you have playgrounds? Do you have active spaces? And so when you do that around the city, it looks like lots of places around the city have access to a park because you have maybe a large park within 15 minutes, or you have a bunch of small neighborhood community gardens or some small blacktop spaces. What we have done in this plan is to look at the combination of those to say, like, do you have access to a quality and diversity of parks? And when we do that kind of analysis, we don't see a big, most of the borough is purple. We actually begin to see some gaps that reflect, very particular needs for youth, for seniors, and for different types of both like active and passive recreation needs. And so this kind of analysis can be really helpful. And one of the things that we, led us to this is like looking at your community district needs assessments. And so, we reviewed every single community district needs assessment in this room and the development of this plan to be able to ask the questions of what data can help us represent the things that we're hearing from community boards. And so when we hear people say, we need better and more parks, how do we begin to tell that story using the data that's available and have a more complicated and complex picture of what people are telling us and what they're experiencing, so it can move from the anecdotal of like, we heard this at this community board and the open space committee to, yeah, we see that. That's what the map shows.
Yeah, and it's us saying that a park is not a park is not a park. Like, if you live 5 minutes from Prospect Park, that's very different than living 5 minutes from another park. It's just the reality, and the access they have, accessibility, the types of they have green space. You know, in my district back in the day, I said I want grass. I'm tired of blacktop. We have so many parks, and there's all black. It's all handball courts, basketball courts, and it's black, all blacktop where the heat rises from it, and these poor kids are sweating. It's like, just give me the artificial turf. I just want grass and plants. I just want to see grass and plants. So I'm just saying, a park is not a park is not a park. And we know that, and this is an example of that. And the last one is community board applications. This is it. Where we have them, where we don't. Dark blue, we get a lot. Light blue, we get less. So you will see them. So you already have that. It's just objective truth. So we're going to pay attention to Community Board 12 this year. We're going to put a little more resources in that community to make sure we get what we want, and that the communication is high. But in those dark blue areas, nobody wants to leave those community boards. And then we have like 100 applications and there's one available spot. That's harder than filling 10 spots. Trust me, just try one good candidate. So comprehensive plan, you all have access to it. It is a public document in our website. Everyone here has access to it. It is how many? 400 pages?
Almost 400.
Almost 400 pages of data and information. The Divine Dwellings pastors, I just want to talk about the pastors. They said, I know what my congregants are suffering with, but some of them come from Jersey. Some of them come from Long Island. You know, some of them come from another district. That's my congregation, but I don't know what's happening outside of the walls of my church. I want to see what people are suffering with. I don't want to host a food insecurity drive or a food drive if what we're suffering with is like diabetes, and maybe I should be doing diabetes awareness. Like, I want to know more. And we gave them a class and a book. We gave them the comprehensive plan, and they're using this for their outreach and external work in the church, using data to help their people versus, you know, Ms. Johnson has diabetes, so we're going to do a diabetes. Well, in here, there's no diabetes in your community. What they have is hypertension or high blood pressure. So let's talk about that instead. So they're using data to inform their outreach, their external affairs outreach. And we want you to prepare, and you can use this to fight back against people that are doing things that you think are not in the community's interest, or to maybe look back and say, hey, I didn't know my community was suffering with like high trash rates as much as it is, or I didn't know this. But use the data. It's actual data. That's it. I want to end it there because I want you to use the comprehensive plan, but I want to thank my team. These guys are superstars. We have the best land use team in the city of New York, hands down, and it's not even close. Just want to say that. So good job. Love you guys. I want to open it up to questions about comprehensive planning. Anything. I'm going to go here and then Camacho. Trisha and then Camacho.
I had a question about the projected completion of the IBX, or if you know, and also the concern that I've heard is that once it's built, the areas that are a little undesirable to transplants will now become desirable because there's transportation all along there. And the people that live there might feel like they're going to be pushed out for people that aren't from there to get housing once it's built. So I want to know what we would do to mitigate that.
So there's two things. So the plan, do you know when the estimated time of like construction? It's like a 2030 projected timeline, at least. So we got a lot of time. But the second thing is, you can't build transportation without housing, right? Well, the idea here is people think not building housing keeps people away. But what not building housing does is that when people want to get housing, the poor people get displaced every single time. Because I always talk about Mr. Johnson makes $150,000 a year. Miss Johnson is on Social Security, and she lives in a 3-bedroom apartment. The landlord of that apartment wants Mr. Johnson to move in because he can pay a higher rate than her. And he displaces her. He evicts her. Now she's gone because she's on Social Security. But if we build right next to Mr. Johnson, to her house, he can live there and not have to displace her. The housing relaxes the tension. But when there is no housing, the poor people would always lose. And I want to use a statistic. The city has a 1.4% vacancy rate. That means there's only 1.4% of apartments are available at a time per month in the city of New York. That equates to about 30,000 available units per month. 50,000 people look to move every single month in the city of New York. Guess who are the 20,000 people that don't find homes? Poor people. So they go to shelters, or they have to stay in the places they are, or they got to double up in somebody's home, or they got to leave the state. There is not an exodus of billionaires. We have more billionaires now than we've ever had in the city of New York. We have more millionaires now than we ever had in the city of New York. You know what we don't have is middle class and poor people. Those are the people moving out. So this idea that we don't build and we protect ourselves is not true. And I'll prove that because gentrification is happening outside of areas that have done rezonings. People think it's only Williamsburg and Bushwick. Bushwick hasn't done a rezoning, and gentrification is taking foot. East New York did do a rezoning, and they're not seeing gentrification. And they did a rezoning and created housing. So I just want to put perspective in people that building housing brings down the tension or the fight between new residents looking for housing, having to fight against old long-term residents. Build more housing. So when the IBX gets built, we don't want to just build the IBX and then a bunch of people want to move into the IBX. And what they're doing is saying, where are the available apartments? And all these landlords are like, yes, the time to make money is now. Let's get rid of all these long-term residents that have been here to replace them with a bunch of transplants and young people that have a lot more money. But if you build housing for those people, a bunch of it, they don't look into the old school folks. They don't want to live in a building that's been there since 1970. They want to be in the new shiny building at a more affordable rate, but that's what they want to do. So their housing creation brings the tension down. Over the last, I think 10 years, the city has built less housing than in the 1940s or 50s. We don't build housing in the city. You think you're seeing housing built, but we don't build housing. There are more people coming into the city than apartments we're building. So I just want to say, I want you to take the perspective. I know the fear is there. That's why people don't like bike lanes. It's not even about transportation. They just think it's the beginning of gentrification. That's how people fight that. And I respect that. It's a fear though, but it's not a reality. The reality is when you build housing, you control gentrification. East New York, do a study on East New York. And I'm not saying East New York was perfect, but East New York did a rezoning under Councilmember Espinal back in the day and Councilmember Charles Barron back in the day. They built housing. They built all the affordable housing first. So the affordable housing was built first. And now all the market rate stuff is going up. Go look at the demographics in those districts. See how much they've changed. They haven't. But then you go in other places that have no housing, the demographics are changing significantly. Bed-Stuy has the largest change in Black residents over a 10-year period than anywhere else in New York City. It's like 60%. It's an exodus of Black families. When they did their rezoning, they did some growth, but they did a lot of downzonings as well. So I just want to have perspective. And I would say this last thing. We haven't built in New York City outside of those areas in blue. And everybody's getting displaced. Affordable housing doesn't exist. We have market rate housing everywhere. Nobody can find an apartment. At some point, we got to do something different. And this is the last thing. I'm so sorry. There are only 2 cities in the entire country that saw rents go down: Minneapolis and Austin, Texas. So that's what you were going to say? 2 cities. What did those 2 cities do? They built a lot of housing. They built so much housing that they have too much housing. And what the landlords did is, I have an apartment and I need to sell it. It's $3,000. No one's buying it. $2,500. You know what? We're going to give you a washer and dryer. Free garage space. You don't need to pay for your garage. We're going to let you the first 3 months free. We're going to pay for your moving. What they did is they had to compete for tenants. Right now, one affordable housing apartment in the city of New York has 80,000 applicants. So the landlord is not saying, hey, let me compete for these tenants. It's like, 3,000, let's sell 3,500, 4,000. We're going to pay $200 for the garage spot that I got in the corner when it used to be free. Those are the things that happen when you don't have housing. Those two places are a model for how rents were reduced. Why not look at that as an example of what we should be doing versus not? That was a long answer to try to speak to like my pro supply. I'm a pro supply elected official, not a pro developer. I don't take money from developers. So I don't care about developers. They make a ton of money and I don't want to have them make more money. But supply is important. We need to build more. It's a supply and demand issue.
Mhm.
That'll be my last long-winded answer.
So, Borough President Reynoso,
Mhm.
thank you very much for that. And so, two things. So the first thing is, I hear what you're saying, and then, for me personally, I hear you about supply. Me personally, I disagree that that much supply is the answer, right? So I hear what you're saying, and I hear
That's
those
what we're here.
arguments. I'm just saying for me personally, I would agree if the supply was all affordable, but it's not, and there's other nuances in there. So I thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I hear what you're saying, and for me personally, there's things I disagree with in that statement. And then for my question regarding the comprehensive plan, it is thorough. For me, it's bittersweet just because my question is about follow through and collaboration, because there's a 2023 comprehensive plan that came out.
Yes.
And I don't remember the roadshow being as robust for that one as this one. And so this is why I say this is bittersweet, because that one was about 200, 300 pages. I don't remember that roadshow. And I find it funny that 2 years later, this is coming out. It's talking about transit-oriented development that was railroaded through the community boards with City of Yes. And so it's a question of, why is this document coming out now showing things that were in the City of Yes that we had to do a year and a half ago? So I don't doubt the work that the team did, because it's very thorough, but it feels like it was too late. And so my question is, why does it feel like there's some key tenets of this that are repeats of things that were in the City of Yes? Because I would have thought if I could go back in time, this would have come out to inform City of Yes instead of the reverse. And then the second is, to be blunt, what is the proof that there will be follow through from the Brooklyn Borough President's office in terms of the work being done? Because maternal health has been one of the key things you've mentioned for years.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing the announcements when you're talking about the funding to that. I don't remember any press releases or any status updates to community boards or Brooklyn Borough boards regarding that work. And so I see this and there's a lot of data, but it kind of feels like a show, because what faith do I have that there will be follow through to show the work's being done, given that this was already done in 2023 and I don't remember a follow up?
Yeah.
So that's my question.
So I think it's three of those. The first one is 2020. When we first did it, we had 19 staff members. I didn't have the capacity to do a road show. I want to say that. That's the first thing. Like, I want to be clear that my land use team, I think we've increased it by like 3 or 4 people. But not only that, my office, we are now at like 70 people. And I think when we finished this, we were at like 40. So I just want to say that now I have more communications access. My social media, it's taken me 2 years to do regular, like normal people social media. My social media was slacking. My community affairs team was only 2 people. Now I think it's 7 people. So you're going to be seeing a lot more of me and my team. That's why Kim Council, my deputy, was so important, because we were splitting a lot of time. So if we weren't there, that community affairs team, we didn't have one. Eric Adams left and he took everybody except 19 people with him. So out of 77, he only had 19. So it was a capacity issue on the roadshow part of it. The City of Yes. So I would say this. I believe that my first comprehensive plan was a precursor to the City of Yes. It was a warning to community boards that this was happening. I had a conversation with Speaker Adrian Adams, and she was allowing for member deference to hold like law. She was like, member deference. If one member doesn't want it, it doesn't matter. The greater good never matters. I allow for my members to make a decision in their district, and we hold that as law. And I told her that is going to bite you in the butt. It's going to bite you because the crisis of housing is going to get so crazy that it's going to be something that you won't be able to stop. And the public is going to fight you on this because they want to see more housing. and they let it happen. When we did the Charter Revision Commission and the recommendations were made to do this panel by the borough president, the speaker, and the mayor, the speaker overturned 3 housing development land use against council members just 6 months before the city of Yes was going to pass. And I told it was a little too late. What you should have done is when we first did this, see the writings on the wall, go against some of the council members that are unreasonable, and then the conversation right now would be a lot different because she would be able to stand up and say, hey, member deference is not king here. Member deference is something we respect, but it is not the law. We can move on it. That didn't happen. They had no ability to stop it. They spent money on trying to stop it, the city council, on trying not to let it happen, a ton of money, and they still lost. And I think that the original one was a precursor to the city of Yes. Now the city of Yes happens. I've always been a transportation oriented development person. That isn't the first one. You could look at it. The first one, I wrote that already. This is just re-highlighting it. The only new thing, the big new thing here is the IBX, because the IBX speaks to everything that I'm talking about, everything that I care about. Like we disagree on like supply side, for example. I need to make a defense of why I think supply side works. And an example of that is being able to, I don't want to build on a street where there's a bunch of 1-family homes in Mill Basin. That doesn't make sense to build out there. It's not what we want. But what I want to do is on the train station, where the train station is, there I do want to build there. I want to have that conversation because I think it's reasonable because one, you don't need a car if a train station is right next to you. So now we don't need to build five floors underneath the building of parking, which costs a lot of money, and we could build more housing on top. It saves money there. Now the housing is more affordable to build, and we could see more of it. So I got to make a case for my ideology, and this does help make my case. You're right. I don't disagree with that. This is data and information that helps make the case that I think transit-oriented development and development in general is very positive for Brooklyn. So in your manner, like you disagree with like supply side, I would say this data is real though. The data has led to my conclusion. The data is raw here, and then I make conclusions based on that data. I would love for you to take some time. You can make your own conclusions with the same data. None of it is manipulated. The third thing is results. That I agree with. So I want to talk about maternal health, and it's been a very difficult thing for me. I care deeply about this issue on a personal level, but you know, this is my baby. This is what I like to do. I gave the city of New York $45 million 4 years ago. I did my first groundbreaking 6 months ago. 6 months ago. The city of New York took more than 3 years to give these hospitals the money to do this work. And it's like the realities of crappy government. It's why people don't like government. I'm here telling Brooklyn that I'm going to make it the safest place for all women, but mostly Black women to have babies. And it takes me 4 years to do a freaking hammering of a hospital. South Brooklyn was the first one. We did Coney Island Hospital. It's sad. So I have to do other things to mitigate the work or the work that's not happening. I got mental health. I got another thing that we're doing where we're doing midwives, expanding midwifery services. We're doing baby boxes and baby showers so that we can help women with the mental health work. We want to show that Brooklyn is a village. We've done, I think, 12 baby showers in Brooklyn, especially in places that are like Brownsville and areas that are struggling. We do that work. So I'm trying to do other things to catch up. But right now, I have no proof of concept because the most important thing is the infrastructure money that I built, and the hospitals are not built out yet. So I have nothing to show for it. You're right. I'm hoping that in 20 years, they're like, Brooklyn is the safest place and it all started here. That's what I'm hoping. But right now, I'm not blind to the fact that we haven't built those units. So I would agree with you that the results of my maternal health work has still work too. It's still in the embryonic stages of development, for lack of, like, for no pun intended. All right. On the format, go ahead.
Hi, folks. I'm Britt Bird. I'm senior planner. I'm one of the primary authors on this plan. Just to speak to that as well, as the VP mentioned, this plan is an iteration of the last plan, and I want to highlight one big difference is really the format of the plan, which is the 2023 plan was very much presented in the lens of the direct powers of this office. And every single recommendation in that plan was categorized as to whether it fits a budget commitment, whether it fits an advocacy commitment, outreach, or a land use commitment. And that was one way of conceptualizing this office's real powers and relationship to what a comprehensive plan in New York City would look like. This one elaborates on it, and every community board and council members district will receive a printed copy of printed and bound copy of one of these plans. This with this iteration, we fleshed out a lot of the analysis and also reformatted the plan. Importantly, to be more of a proof of concept for what a citywide comprehensive plan for New York City would look like. And part of that involved reformatting a lot of the same ideas and content, taking into account the ULURP applications that have happened in the interim, City of Yes, citywide, the district statements of needs, the citywide statement of needs, all of that together and formatting it into a narrative and a package that resembles more of like what the city should be producing for the city of New York. And both of these formats, though, are two different ways of, peeling the orange. So you can still look at the 2023 plan that has the breakdown of the different types of actions, so to speak. And then you can look at this plan as the proof of concept of what the city of New York should really be producing as a citywide plan. Finally, last time our office did a roadshow, mostly to community board land use committees and housing committees, depending on the exact format, where we spoke to, we reached out to 18, spoke with 14 of them. This is the beginning of the next set of conversation. The slide deck that we ran through tonight, the reason why it's so long is that this is our full deck. That is the roadshow that we can come to your community board, come to your council district office and talk through. We've got printed out copies here, but this is very much the beginning of that next sort of conversation of how to continue giving life to this plan.
The other thing that I'll just add very briefly, if I may, is on the cover of this plan, there's a very colorful map of the borough. That is the urban design typology. And so one of the things that this office did and prioritized during City of Yes is that we went to each and every one of those community board conversations. So if there was a City of Yes committee or a land use committee conversation, we were there in the room listening. And one of the things that we heard pretty consistently throughout that process was like, this kind of feels like a one size fits all approach. Then it is a little bit of housing in every neighborhood is what sort of Department of City Planning would say. And so it was really important for us to begin to help the people of Brooklyn have a map that begins to speak to the types of different places that shape the borough. And so like your local main street that you do most of your shopping, where people are doing their laundry, getting their groceries, each neighborhood across the borough has one of those places. And so, Flatlands and Flatbush is going to look a little bit different than Fort Greene, but those place types and how we sort of support those places so that you can have a local center that really supports your needs to get the types of things that you need access to in South Brooklyn or Northeast Brooklyn. We wanted to be able to say, yes, there are some similarities across the borough when we think of the types of places where it's good to grow, where it has good access to transit, but also acknowledging that some of those places have differences and that the expectation for Greenpoint and Williamsburg is not the same expectation for Canarsie, right? And so being able to have some real direction that is rooted in place, in transit, in infrastructure, but also in the ways that the city already functioning is something that we did really in direct response to City of Yes. And so would encourage you to take a closer look at that chapter to see if those sort of place types reflect your lived reality, to then say, yes, this is a good place to grow, this main street or this connection or this place where there's a lot of job opportunity. We should encourage more jobs in those types of places.
Yeah. Sorry, I almost died there coughing. Just want to say also, I think what we suffer from in our communities is a lack of like credible messengers. We've gone through, in my lifetime, I want to talk about my lifetime. I'm 42 years old. From 20 to 42, it's not been a fun ride. It's unaffordable. Elected officials getting indicted. Elected officials with sexual harassment. It's just been tough. And These elected officials, especially in New York City, haven't made our lives easier in any way, shape, or form. I feel like we're all struggling. We're all trying to make things meet. Our transportation is terrible. Crime is going up, this and that. The drugs are on the rise. Our parks look like crap. There's litter everywhere, rats roaming around. Like, you could talk about, complain about New York City all you want. It's the city I love, and I love Brooklyn, but we know what it is in some cases. And what you have here is that I'm trying to pose like a thought experiment with you guys. And it's just like, I'm not talking to you with my feelings. You have too many elected officials that talk about their feelings, and their feelings have no value. I want to be clear. They will not improve your lives. What they will do, though, is make you comfortable. Their feelings make you comfortable because you share them. And like, what I'm trying to say here is that I'm the uncomfortable person. And I've been that way you could talk to Camacho, my entire time. I'm cool with like not being liked, being wrong, right? Like, I don't care. I'm going to try. What I want to try to do for you guys is I'm going to do something that is not about feelings at all. I'm going to give you data. You have the data. You have access to it. Do what you will. Go do it. But don't trust my words on what I'm saying. Do your own work. Be careful when an elected official that when you go to a community board and you say a bunch of stuff, an elected official says a bunch of stuff and they get clapped for every single time, then there's no meaningful conversation happening. You can't have a meaningful conversation with these messengers if you're not discussing it with them. If we're not challenging each other, holding each other accountable, we're not making progress. We're not making progress. And what we did is that we let these people smile their way through power because we like them, because they make us comfortable. So I guess with you guys, especially with the community boards, I consider you guys the entry level of civic engagement in our city. That's what you are. You want to start learning how to do something for your community, you join a community board. You join it. But what ends up happening is that the community board becomes like a hive mindset. You all dislike something the same way. And if 90% of the people don't like something, the other 10 might not want to speak. And that 10th person that speaks is an outcast or somebody you don't want to talk to. You have disruption because that's disruptive and it's more comfortable to just agree. So all I'm asking is to take this document. I believe I'm a credible messenger, but don't trust me. Trust the data, trust the information. Okay. And then what ends up happening too is that the elected officials get stronger because of it. They get better. When you check an elected official, they get better. They might not like you, but they get better. We were at we have secret meetings with the chair people of the community boards. And in that secret meeting, someone stood up and was like, we want to see you more. We have these borough board meetings and you're not there. And now I think we're having a really engaging conversation that is meaningful. It's not fluff. You're not getting fluff. I'm not here, hey, congratulations, let's keep it moving. Here's a couple of pins and it's over. Like, we're talking about real stuff that is affecting your communities in a real way. And that came from somebody holding me to account, wanting to have the conversation. And I'm trying to deliver on that. And I think that's meaningful. But if you don't make people uncomfortable and you don't have tough conversations, then you're not doing anything. Camacho's always making things uncomfortable. I come from Bushwick. That's normal. Camacho's, like, there's like 17 Camachos on every corner in Bushwick. Yeah, and you know what? And I want to be respectful here, but I think the North Brooklyn elected officials are a different class of type of elected official, a different type, not a different class, different type of elected official. Because we grew up with a bunch of people telling us no, or you're wrong, or you need to do better, or you can't come in here. We're the type of, in our community, if I didn't pay for a park, you can't come to that ribbon cutting. They're going to look at you funny. It's like, you never been here. I can't have you sit, excuse me. When you do something, you show up, but you haven't done anything yet. They do that all the freaking time, So I just want to say, so because of where I come from and how I'm built, and because I'm from North Brooklyn, I'm not from the traditional location of where borough presidents are born, which is mostly in Central Brooklyn. I just think I'm a different type, not better, not worse, just a different type. And my type is making people uncomfortable, holding people accountable, and having data make the case, not personal. So that's all. I just want to open it up because I think you guys can do the same in your community boards. Like, be careful of the hive mindset. Let people disagree. And then when you see a disagreement, don't bang the gavel and straight up just want to shut it down because it's uncomfortable. We're like, hey, I think we should have this conversation, but we're going to do it in a civilized manner. But we're going to have this conversation versus just stop it. No, out of order. We're moving on to the next thing. Don't do that. Let people be a little uncomfortable, but do it in a respectful manner, which is why, and if they don't, we get rid of them for decorum. We'll take care of it. So that's it. I don't want to I'm freaking pontificating here and speaking. I just want you guys to know that I think it's cool that that uncomfortability, I think is cool. Camacho, I think is your turn.
Well, I know city or land that we can build on. I know locations that we can get housing. I know we built the plan, and I know when Mayor de Blasio was there, things wasn't like it used to, and it shut down. And now we see all our homes, 1 and 2 family homes getting knocked down in roads, and we're getting displaced and pushed out. We want to build, but we want to build it where our people can come back, and when we can come back and have what it was when we were living in places like this. But we can't have 500 meetings.
Yeah.
If we're going to do something, let's do what we have to do and let's get it done. Because I want to make sure when I do, if there are on Broadway places that you know that we can build, and I know where the places are. Sometimes I keep my stuff to myself and don't tell these elected officials because everything is about credit and what they want to do. But I want to see a place where I can have my grandkids, where somebody that can't afford to live in a place, in a new building, where my grandkids is across the street, there's a big building, and say, Grandpa, why can't I live in a home like that? Or why do my kids got to be in a shelter? We really need to start thinking out the box, all our community boards, because I see it when I walk by. And we have to hold ourselves accountable and hold our elected officials accountable. Because I tell them all the time, I'm nobody's friend. I'm here for my people. And they work for us, and we don't work for them. They work for us. Their names are on the ballot. We vote for them. And when they start that narrative, I says, no, we're not doing this. And when the divisiveness with him or there or she or there, I'm not going to do that. Because I'm going to be the first one right there saying, no, we're not doing this. Yep. So we really need to. I want to build housing. But I want to build for my people to come back. And I want to build for my grandkids and kids. That's the problem. When my kids are leaving the community they were born and raised in, and they can't come back because they can't afford to live here. And the place they're in, they don't know. Picture yourself in the middle of somewhere where you don't know, and you were all your life in this place, and now you're not there. So my thing is not that. My thing is this, all right, let's go to work. You want to start with Bush Street? Let's start. I'm willing. I know places, I know lots that are there that DOE is holding on to, that we can get rid of these spots that is creating garbage and places that not. I know places where right now there's a church right there that's getting all full of garbage and junk, and sanitation is constantly cleaning. Let's start building there. Let's start building a mixed home where we have to be mindful that if you got 5 people in your home and all 5 work and they make $50,000, that's $125,000. At 30% of their income, they can afford that rent. So let's stop that. Because I know Hope Garden, which was NYCHA, is under the VAT conversion, and there are people paying their $4,000 rent only because their kids are working. And their rent is based on their income. So why not remove that threshold, create a place where they can get a 1-bedroom, and give that to a family that's in a shelter? Let's think out the box. But we're our own enemies. Us, Latinos and Blacks, we are our own enemies because we always want to cut corners and think, and we're not looking out for each other. We're all about us instead of about all of us together. So we need to stop this narrative and start opening these places where we see. But we want to make sure that our people are going to use the establishments that are there. Because you're right, there is a waiting list. And there is a lotto. and people are waiting for lotto. By the time the lotto hit, you know how real lotto is, right? You're never going to get it. So we really need to start doing the mix. I know Broadway has places. I know places where there's lots. I know places that are city-owned DOE. I know lots that sanitation. I know PD parking lots that have X amount that we can split and get a spot and let them. So there are places in Bushwick that we want. But we're not going to tell these developers, and we're not telling this man because then he wants to get the credit. We want the community to get the credit to create our own housing.
So,
Just like
Macho,
what you said.
So I want to say this. I'm going to open up my office to sit with any community board that's willing to do that experiment that I talked about, where you tell us where you think we should be building. We'll do it, and you don't need to show it to anybody at first. Get your housing committee or your land use committee together. I'll give you the expertise of my land use team, and you say, look, we don't want this rezoning where it's across the board in this one type, but we think these 4 streets are perfectly fine for soft development to happen. The community board do it. We'll give you our team. Our land use team will go and meet with your land use and housing team to help you build that out, where the community board is doing the work. So we're not having this robust community engagement. We're allowing for the community board to do that work first and build off of that. If you guys want to do that, we'll be more than happy to do it. And then when the time comes and the mayor wants to rezone your district, you could push back and say, hey, we already have a plan. We don't need your plan. Your plan doesn't make sense. We disagree with it. You don't know what you're talking about. Look at our plan. It creates housing. It builds in the places that we can build. It keeps you away from the places where you don't want, but we're working together. If we can do that, our office, you call Caroline, we will work with your land use, zoning, and housing team, and we will come out and help you build that plan. All right? The affordable housing is a different story. There are some places that affordable housing is the only way it works, but there are other places where you can't build unless there's market rate. So those are 2 different conversations. It's not realistic. It's just not. If it's city-owned land, 100% affordable. We don't play games with that. We can build that. But if it's not city-owned land, it's very hard to do. You can build your house right now, a 2-family home. You would be over the moon if we told you that you had to keep one of those out $1,000 a month. You'd be angry. It's very hard to do. And there is city subsidies, so we can do that. That's what we're doing with the dwellings. The city is talking to them so that when this housing gets built, they can give them subsidies to build affordable housing. But in a rezoning, that can't happen. A rezoning is usually district-wide, and you can't individually go to every single developer and tell them that this is what you want. So it's a lot harder. But guaranteeing affordable housing is hard. In East New York, it's almost 100% affordable housing, even the market rate, because the market rate in East New York is lower than 120% AMI. You can't go to East New York and get a $3,000 1-bedroom. Nobody's going to buy it because it's far away from transit. But $2,000 is 120% AMI. And in that case, the $2,000 becomes market rate, but that is a rent stabilized and affordable housing according to the city of New York. So there are things we can do, but let's have that conversation. If you want it to be 100% affordable, let's talk about that. Let's have that conversation and see what we can do. Maybe in the systems that we have and talking to HPD, they're like, we can actually guarantee that. Let's do it. I don't mind exploring it. I'm not saying absolutely no. I'm just saying it's complicated and hard, but I'm willing to explore it with you. And these are your plans. I also don't need you after we're done. If you don't like it or you're not comfortable or you're not happy, then that's your plan. Keep it. Keep it in your office. Never show it to anybody. But if you think it's a product that is of value and that you think you've done a good job, send it out. Just the experiment of being able to go through the community boards and having them go through this plan is enough for us. So nobody needs to use that plan to build. Nobody needs to do anything. Just go through the process of allowing for your community to make the decisions, your community board to make the decisions for the community. You always mad at us that we're doing it. Do it. Do the work. We'll give you the team. All right. That's a challenge. Take it. Call Caroline. Be like, we want it first. It's your plan. We will never speak on it. We will never push it. We won't say, hey, you did a plan. We want that. If you don't want it, you keep it hidden somewhere. But we want to go through the experiment. Okay?
And also, if you want to put it out, like there is a difference in a community district needs assessment. So affordability is one of the biggest issues in the city. Every community board pretty much across the city has cited affordability as a thing. It's very different to say we want to do something about affordability. It's another thing to say we welcome projects that are coming to our board that meet these needs. We want senior housing projects. We want to think about housing for people that are coming out of the foster care system. We want family size housing, particularly in these places, to take advantage of the new schools that we have, like that kind of specificity. When I tell you that we are reading your community district needs assessments, believe that and put additional detail into what you want to see so that people can be responsive to that.
All right. So we are way over. I hope that you're enjoying at least. I hope we're having a good time at least. And that we're at least talking. But we do have one more thing that we wanted to present. That it's the Brooklyn Parks and Open Space Symposium that's gonna happen. Oh, somebody has a question? Who's doing this? Oh, Nicholas. Where are they? Where's Nicholas? Okay. Nicholas, come here. I'm so sorry. We've been taking all this time up, but we really want to get you to do this. This is a 7-minute presentation and then we're going to be done. So I'm sorry about that. Somebody has a question? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say good evening, everyone. My name is Dante Arnwan. I'm the district manager at CB9. I am supposed to introduce Mr. Almanor, so I'm going to take that opportunity to do so. Educator, scientist, a great community activist. Mr. Almanor serves as the chair of our Parks, Recreation, and Culture Committee. He has a presentation for you all to talk about a biennial conference of parks. He wants to get all the parks committees on your community boards together to have conversations about equity and about parks. And so without further ado, I will let Mr. Almanor take it away.
Dante, you want to come up here? There you go.
He's fine. He doesn't need it.
It's up. It's up. Hi. Can you see it? Then just left, right. Left, right. Yeah. It's not moving. I got it. Yeah, you just got to press the button. Press the right button anymore. Every time you want to move, press it really hard. This one? Yeah, push. There you go. Oh, okay. All right. There you go.
All right. Thank you for this opportunity to make this short presentation to you. So this is, like it says, been 3 years in the making, where the idea came in, where we see where we can get all the community board park recreation committee to come together and share good practices, what's happening in their particular parks and recreation section. 2003 making, I think the conversation started with Community Board 17, even though Community 17, Bellot Antoine, could not continue, but I spread this information throughout the city, many of the elected council members, but until Prospect Park Alliance came in, this process started. So this was, like I said, now we have a 6, with the sponsorship of the board president office, we have these 6 organizations together, city and private, good government organizations that are interested in parks. So now we need all the community board to be united. So this is the conference day. This is the overview. We have a bunch of workshops scheduled, and we'll end up finally about 5 p.m. So, but we don't know yet, but tentatively for at Brooklyn Bridge Park for more relaxation and so every CB will present for 2 minutes. I have a packet for all the CD, but I'm not able to print it, but it will be emailed to everyone with very specific instruction to do a presentation what's happening within each of your community board. So to look at all the green spaces. We think this will have a real impact. So this is some of the gain we think your constitution will have. But we want for you 3 commitments. Pass a resolution by February or March, designate a liaison provide the conference to your, promote the conference to your shareholder constituents. So I will give you the packets for that. I will email those packets to you there. So this is somewhat the timeline where we are now. So hopefully, reserve those dates. Let's see.
You go back, you can press it back card.
All right. So this is more or less a quick graphic of the timeline. But you could, yeah, I will email all this PowerPoint to you guys too. So if you don't catch everything, we'll get it. Okay. And I went a little too fast. This is what I thought I was going to give you to take tonight, but you will receive it in email. This is a Brooklyn moment from Greenpoint to Coney Island. Every neighborhood, every garden, and every playground. And this is my contact information, and I'll send you digital copies of all of this. At this point, this is the end of my presentation. If you have any question, I'll be. Your contact information? Yes. But I will send that to you also. Each of the district managers will receive this and the list of the stuff I have in the packet.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to see you, to spend a day. And part of that, we're going to have live demonstration and tours within Prospect Park. So it's not only sitting and hearing people talk, but also there will be some hands-on. So I thank you very much for this opportunity. Looking forward to see as many of you as possible. You could see one more thing I said. When I had the idea, I wanted to get a lot of the elected officials there. But you could see in this particular presentation, none of them are included. So we want you guys to come and speak to each other more than anything else.
That's
Okay?
awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nicholas. Thank you. I imagine it's going to be a fun day. Everybody in your parks committee should be invited and definitely should go. I would love for you to go. And I think this is a great opportunity for us to talk about something that's very important, which is open space. We talked about blacktop and how our neighborhoods don't have enough green space. This could be a great place to do that. Or you could just highlight how amazing your parks are, because everyone gets 2 minutes to do a presentation for each of their community boards. So I just want to thank Mr. Almamore for the presentation and taking the time. And he said 7 minutes, and he did it in under 7 minutes. I obviously can't do that, but he did. So thank you so much. Again, thank you so much.
35 is the teaching.
He said 35 years of teaching. He got it figured out. I guess other business?
Yeah.
Other business?
Yeah, just very quickly.
Come on, Anthony. I did all the talking. Go ahead, Anthony. Go ahead.
The chair of the Open Meetings Law Committee isn't here, so I'll quickly do the update. The committee did meet. They'll be meeting again soon, and we're going to hold the timeline to get a resolution or not to the state legislature in time for them to deliberate on it.
Okay.
So that's all I have for other business.
Anthony, you figured it out? All right. So I want to say thank you to everyone for coming. This was a lot of fun. I want to do more of it. Please, if you talk to Caroline and you have topics you want to discuss that we want to have a conversation with, I would love it. I want to see if we could start turning these things. I know we have a lot of stuff that we're doing here into conversations, like just talking, all of us, about things that are important, not specific district issue things, but just like trying to advance our community boards in a positive way. But I want to thank you all. Spread love, please. And thank you for staying and always being here. Take care. All right.
Thank you. Good night.
The adjournment. Do we got to have a vote for that?
Yes.
Go
Is there
ahead.
a motion to adjourn? Well,
Excuse me.
thank you. That's me. That's me.
We need somebody to do a parliamentarian work for community boards in the new year. No,
No, seriously.
we pay nothing.
Thank you all. Happy New Year.
Oh, okay.